This video is to demonstrate joining at the end of the V-neck increases, so that if you're making a jumper, this is the point at which the garment is now worked in the round. So I'm just knitting up to the end of this row, and I need to do my last front neck increase 2 stitches in from the end of the row. So I'm going to do my last increase here, which is a make one left. So I've lifted up the loop, knit through the back of the loop to twist the stitch, knit one more stitch. So I've got 1 stitch left on this round or row. Now I could just knit this stitch and then continue knitting across, but you tend to get a bit of a gap forming at this crossover, this join point. So to try and reduce that problem, I'm going to swap the last and the first stitch. So I'm going to slip the last and the first stitch to the right needle, and then put the left needle back into that first stitch and pick up the first stitch of the row onto my right needle. We've already worked this stitch in the round when we started this row, so I'm going to slip that stitch. I'm leaving that stitch where it is. I'm also going to place a different stitch marker, because at the moment this is still the beginning and end of the round. When we were working back and forth, we'd be knitting to the edge of the end of the row and then turning and going back again. So this is the beginning and end of the round, and I'm now going to be starting my next round, which I need to work that stitch and then continue. But I'm now working in rounds rather than rows. So I'm going to be working across to my raglan increases, the same as before, but we're now on the next row on the worksheet. So this row is just working the stitches as they come, because previously this would have been a wrong side row, but now that we're working in the round, we're just going to be knitting to the panel, slip the stitch, purl 2, knit 2 through the back loop, because these are always knit through the back loop on the right side, purl 2, etc., all the way round. You'll have a few more rounds to do before we get to the next point where we have to divide for the body and the sleeves. But for those that are doing a jumper, if you're making a jumper, your garment has now been joined and will now continue to be worked in the round and not flat. So that's just a little trick to try and reduce the gap that may form at the V point when you start joining your neckband, your neck garment all the way around. And we now can just carry on working until we get to the next point, which will be dividing for the body and sleeves of the jumper or cardigan.